1300 564 652. Couple of texts here. The politicians don't mention Aussie Cossack because that's what he wants. John, the Aussie Cossack twit shows no respect for the Australian government or to our police force. Watch his videos. He's an absolute twit, and I'm glad he's in the Russian consulate. I'm glad he's their problem. Send him to Russia. Signed, Craig. I don't know. I'd like to talk to the bloke.
Yesterday in the news was a breaking story of an Australian national known as Aussie Cossack holding up in the Russian consulate in Wallara. He's wanted by the New South Wales Police on a court order and a court warrant for his arrest. This is the first time we've heard about this, except that he's been in the consulate since December. Not a word from the Prime Minister, not a word from the Home Affairs Minister, not a word from the Foreign Affairs Minister. We've got a man inside the Russian consulate who is a known pro-Putin blogger who's wanted in relation to an assault of a demonstration here in New South Wales. This is all public record.
I'm aware of all of the things you've said, yes.
And my question is, why hasn't the public been told about this person inside this consulate? Now, people could say it's none of our business. I think it is, because aren't we supplying weapons and other stuff to support the people of the Ukraine in a fight against Russia? And we've got an Australian national who's now holed up in the Russian embassy or consulate in Sydney, who's actually espousing on public places for the capture of Australians so he can do a prisoner swap.
Yeah. Look, Richard, I don't think it's the government's responsibility to give us that information. There's some information that governments don't want to spread, and I can only assume that that's something that they don't necessarily want to broadcast, but we've broadcast it now anyway.
Well, it was broadcast in the press yesterday.
I'm aware of that.
It was everywhere. But my point is this. What is the government doing about it? This is the same regime, Russian national...
Yes, listen, you're getting a bit wound up here, Richard. Just before you go any further...
Getting wound up, John.
Yes, you are. Listen, just stop for a minute, Richard. We can't do anything about somebody who has been given asylum in an embassy. It ceases to be any of our business.
Yes, we can.
Well, okay, so what do we do?
Well, you say to the Russians, hand him over. If you don't, in 7 days, we'll close the consulate at Wallara.
So you want to start World War III, yeah?
Oh, we'll start... John, this is the problem with the West and with this country. We don't want to stand up to the bully in our backyard.
Well, I think that we do, but I think that we've got to be very cautious about the manner in which we stand up to the bully in our backyard.
Well, we'll agree to disagree, John. We'll see what happens.
Okay, can you tell me what damage is being done? And if nothing is done about this, if the status quo remains, can you tell me what damage is being done?
The damage has already been done. We have a person inciting crimes against Australians on bloggers.
Okay, well, you tell me... Hey, hang on a minute. You tell me what the government should be doing. What can the government do?
I just told you. There's one example.
Yeah, but under our diplomatic privileges, humanity in accordance with the Vienna Convention, we've got to adhere to that. Whether we like it or not, we've got to adhere to that.
But, John, the Geneva Convention also lays out criteria where each state will comply with it. And one of those things is you do not harbour criminals from inside the country where you're a host.
Okay, now tell me, Richard, what do we do?
I told you the first step should be what I suggested, or something else. But the bottom line, our government's not even discussing the matter. It's basically saying the Russian embassy, a totalitarian regime, accused of war crimes in the Ukraine, is harbouring a pro-Russian blogger who's calling for Australians to be captured overseas to be used in a military swap. If that isn't treason or interference in the political right of this country and its legal process, God knows what is.
Well, I accept that. I accept that.
That's my point.
But again, what's the solution?
Well, I'm not the politician. I'm just a citizen, retired federal law enforcement officer who has a view. And I'm still allowed to have that view, and I thank you for giving me that view today.
That's a pleasure, Richard, and you're quite right. You're still allowed to have that view. I think that that's a very good thing for you to say. At least you live in a country where you can enjoy freedom of speech, even if you have to suffer the consequences of it later. You can still enjoy freedom of speech. It's very important. You're right.
Okay, well, you have a good day.
You too, Richard. Thank you for the call.